Sorry, it's been a little while since I've uploaded. Lately, I've hit a rough patch, really overwhelmed, depressed, but I'm trying to pull myself out of it. And I thank you for the supportive comments to the last video. I really appreciate people sharing what they do to minimize waste and also letting me know I'm not alone in what I do. When no one I know has ever told me they do some of the things I do, I automatically assume I'm the only one, and I feel like an anomaly, which leads to feelings of shame. Rosy lemons related to tearing paper towel sheets smaller, and that reminded me of an old Tonight Show clip I once saw of the stunning Angie Dickinson telling Johnny Carson how she reused paper towels. I searched for the clip to share, but it's been taken down. I think she said she put aside paper towels that were only used to dry her washed hands, and she'd reuse them later for spills or dog messes, something like that. I just remember how adorable she was on national TV describing what she did, and I think she might have also encouraged others to minimize waste too. I found it so sweet. All right, today I want to share some feelings of regret that I experienced while decluttering. I hated my first job out of college, so much so that I decided to have elective surgery to get out of work. I had bunions on both my feet and I got them taken care of. While going through old paperwork, I came across a file with all the explanation of benefits for my foot surgeries. I remember doing one bunion at a time, so I had two separate surgeries. Of course, I looked at the paperwork as I was going through it, and what I didn't remember was that I had two more foot surgeries for other things like hammer toes, neuromas, talar bunions. How much did I hate my job to have four foot surgeries? Very quickly, I felt distressed and down on myself, as I often do when going through old papers. Those feelings are usually what I'm avoiding when I put off facing papers. So I examined my thoughts to try to figure out what was making me feel so bad. For one thing, look at all these. I couldn't believe how many insurance claims were made for the surgeries. So many office visits and lots of x-rays that I would not expose myself to now. At that time, I had phenomenal health insurance. And I feel like A, the doctor might have taken advantage of it, and B, I was too ignorant to scrutinize his billing and question it. So what came up as I was going through all these pages and pages were feelings of regret and feeling stupid for my poor judgment. I shouldn't have had all those surgeries. I should have been more prudent. I was shooting all over myself, as they say. Ironically, I have a hammer toe now that probably warrants surgery, but I can't even think about pursuing it. I feel like the four foot surgeries I already had exceeded my lifetime allowance of foot surgeries and x-ray exposure, if that makes any sense. I've learned that self-criticism doesn't help me improve. It keeps me stuck. These days when I make mistakes, I really try to ask myself, what can I learn from this? And that's helped reduce self-criticism when I make mistakes in the moment. But I have difficulty letting go of things from the past because of feelings of regret. What was I thinking? Going under the knife so many times for elective procedures. The first two, fine, but the next two probably weren't necessary. And honestly, one of the procedures done that probably wasn't necessary caused a different problem in my foot. So how can I forgive myself for these past mistakes? I came across a video by Douglas Block. He talks about healing from depression, having experienced major depression himself. Studies on hoarding disorder report high comorbidity rates for major depressive disorder, and I can attest to that firsthand. In this video, Block talks about practicing self-forgiveness. Rather than self-blame, practice self-forgiveness by realizing that you were doing the best you could with the information and awareness you had at the time. I was in my 20s when I had those surgeries. My family lived thousands of miles away. At that age, I wasn't thinking about how every surgery, no matter how minor, is a risk. I absolutely hated this job. So hey, have foot surgery to get out on medical leave. If the podiatrist says I need surgery for hammer toes, have surgery for hammer toes. I know better now, but I was doing the best I could with the information and awareness I had at the time. Telling myself this helped me release those feelings of regret and self-blame. And I'm going to add that phrase to my toolbox. I often come across paperwork that reminds me of poor financial decisions I made in the past, and I'm going to use that phrase in those moments. Douglas Block notes that practicing self forgiveness is a long process that doesn't happen overnight, but eventually you can have the freedom of letting go of things you beat yourself up for and not have to hang on to the past. I'll post a link to his video below and hope that you find it helpful in dealing with any past regrets you may have.